The Kansas City Chiefs are the most likely to end up on Broadway because you have Kelsey, you have Mahomes, they're already on a bunch of ads with Andy Reid, Taylor Swift. Whatever they're doing, they need to make a movie out of it because it's crazy. My name is Anthony. Welcome to all 32 NFL teams superlatives. I already did one bet for all 32 NFL teams. Check out a link in the description if you want to see that. But tune into this video first because next we're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers, who are interesting all in themselves. My superlative for them is most likely to be the next Bill Gates. Or Bill Belichick. That's for Jim Harbaugh. You know, Jim Harbaugh has a really good track record, and I think he's going to turn this team around. You may have to wait a year or two, but they are definitely going to shine. Next is the Raiders. They just have the most school spirit. With Gardner Minshew, with Antonio Pierce, they're going to be fighting really hard. And they have the spirit of the Raiders. They're going to bring that back. For the Broncos, it's most likely to break a world record. Not a good one. They let up 70 points to Miami Dolphins. Remember that last year? They're going to break some sort of record with like Bo Nix throwing interceptions, the defense being bad. They're going to do something like that. Next is the Giants, my favorite team. They're the cutest couple that never was. Brian Dable, did you see the way he looked at Jaden Daniels? Joe Shane, did you see the way he looked at Drake May? None of those happened, and we are just stuck in misery with Daniel Jones. Next one is the Eagles. They're the most likely to take over the world. Now, they have new coordinators. We'll see what happens. But they have Hurts, Saquon. They draft well every single year. They're replacing the guys that are retiring. Even Jason Kelsey, they have a guy to replace him, so it's insane. Next is the Washington Commanders. They're the most gullible because people think they're going to be really good this year. You have Colin Cowherd picking them for the playoffs. I don't think they're going to be any good. Jaden Daniels, I like him, but I don't think it's going to happen in year one. The Cowboys, it's the worst case of senioritis because Dak, contract extension looming. What's happening there? Is he going to play well? We'll see. But you have a bunch of guys looking for contracts. Some of these guys may have contractitis or senioritis. They want to play well, but you know what heart are you fighting for? Next division, you have the Titans. They're the best shoulder to cry on. I think overall team camaraderie. It's going to go well this year, but go well eventually. But this year, just not your year. I think their team is made up of good character guys, except for Calvin Ridley. But that was just betting, so I don't know. But yeah, they're the best shoulder to cry on. There'll be a lot of tears this year. Next is the Texans. They're the life of the party. I think they're going to have the most fun offense. Them and the Bears. It's going to be interesting, though, to see how Stephon Diggs and Joe Mixon get involved with this. But I think overall it's going to be really fun. They're going to be a really fun team this year. The Colts, obviously the most athletic. Their GM just drafts athletic guys. We'll see if it works, but they're the most athletic. They're the guy that everyone wants to be around. Go Anthony Richardson. The Jags are most likely to stay the same from last year. Now you're saying Trevor Lawrence, who was injured last year, but I don't see this team like being really, really good. And you have the Texans and the Colts are going to be in the mix too. So I foresee them barely making a wild card, if that, and not really exceeding expectations so much. Next division, you have the Green Bay Packers. They're most likely to remain high school sweethearts. Now, recently, Jordan Love, he wants a new contract, so a bit rocky here, but they're going to sign him to a long-term deal. And I'm not going to predict the contract because by the time I do that, he's already going to be signed a contract. So him with the floor, I think it's a match made in heaven. Next is the Vikings. They're most likely to be late to class. By what I mean by this is, take a look at the beginning of their schedule. I don't have it pulled up, but it's like the Bengals, it's the Lions. It's a really hard schedule. They're going to be the late to class meaning. They're going to keep on holding on to Sam Darnold, and they're not going to let McCarthy do his thing this year, and I think they should. The Bears are the most likely to be Instagram famous. You have Odunze. You have Caleb Williams. I'm almost forgetting their names. You have Keenan Allen. You have all these talented players. I think it's going to be fun this year, even if they're not any good this year. For the Lions, they're the most likely to survive the Hunger Games. They are feisty. They are tough. Besides Jared Goff, maybe he's not the strongest guy in the world, but I mean, this team, I would draft them to go up into Hunger Games. Almost of any team in the NFL. The Browns are the most likely to leave the country because they're just so sad about their team. Like, your quarterback may not be good, and you may just want to root for a different team, go leave for a couple of years, and come back to see what it's like in a few years. Enjoy it, the Illy Mountains or something like that. The Steelers, they're the most changed from last year because imagine you had this prophetically white quarterback motto, but now you have Wilson, you have Fields. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. The defense, I think, is going to be mostly the same, but they beefed off the offensive line. I think they're going to be the most changed this year, but still probably go 9-8. The Ravens are the most likely to lose their hair the first because they just give you so much stress. You think they're going to make it, and then they don't. Lamar Jackson, the way they play these games, like the Rams game, the Chiefs, like, can we have a normal game here? The Bengals are the most likely to save the planet from the Chiefs. They're my nominee. Good luck. Maybe the Bills, hopefully, but please, they've done it before. Let's do it again. The Seahawks are the biggest prankster or the biggest spoiler of any single team. I think they're going to be good this year. The defense, Smith is still going to be good. I don't think Sam Howell sees the field that much, but your weapons are great. Offensive line needs work, but I think they're going to be the biggest spoiler out of any team, especially when they play teams like the Rams and the 49ers. The Rams are the biggest bromance, the best bromance between McVay and between Stafford. Those guys are like this. He's handpicked them, and it seems like it's working. I think they're going to be good this year. Those two, you can't really do much better than them. But there's other good combos in the league, but that's the one I particularly picked for this video. Next, the 49ers are most likely to be president. Nick Bosa may even run. He seems very presidential. But Brock Purdy, this is basically the most likely to succeed. I really don't see them being bad. I know some people say their roster is thin, but just look at the roster. Either way you look, it's pretty good. But we'll see what happens in future years. The Cardinals, the best advice I can give to the Cardinals, I'm using this. You did a really good job with your rebuild. Let's expedite some things and let's sign some people so we can be even greater after this year. But overall, best advice, they've rebuilt has been pretty good so far. The Dolphins are the most likely to trip on stage. They're the most likely to look like everything's going well, to be, at graduation and then fall flat on their face. The Patriots are the most involved. I think they should be most involved in trades or whatever is going on in the NFL to help out Drake May, the rookie. The Bills are the biggest flirt because you think that you're almost there and, hey, we're going to make the Super Bowl. We're going to do all these things. Our run game is better, and then they just disappoint you in the end of it. The Jets are the biggest, I couldn't decide, the biggest drama queen or the most unforgettable because I think overall they're going to be interesting but loud, noisy, and they say they don't want attention, but they still drag the attention. The Bucks are the most upbeat attitude, like the best attitude. I think Baker, the vibes are going well. They didn't even expect to win last year. I think that's going to carry on to this year. Maybe not as successful. I do think they're a 7-8 win team, but overall, I think their vibes there are going to be really fun. The Panthers are the most likely to win the lottery and then lose the ticket. They were this close to getting CJ Stroud, and then they were this close to getting Caleb Williams that didn't trade their pick, but they blew it, and we'll see how Bryce Young does. The Falcons are the most likely to become a chef because one of Kirk Cousins and one of Penix is going to be unemployed in a few years. So learn how to cook, learn some other skills, learn how to cook and maybe throw it, throw it well as a player. So I don't know why I said that. That sounded so weird. And then finally, the Saints, they're the most likely to put things off until tomorrow because not just homework, but they're putting off this cap situation to the next day, and eventually it's going to pay, and it looks like it's starting to pay a little bit. They just need to draft better. That's overall. The past couple drafts haven't been good. And that's all 32 teams superlatives. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you tomorrow.